Good evening, Sanctuary. We are back. I know you missed us. It's been 2 weeks. I hope you didn't forget who we were. But just in case you've forgotten, this is the Westmarch Workshop. I am Nineball. Join with me, my co-host, Lieutenant Lunatic, and on tonight's episode, we have a special guest who is joining us again for a second time. Maybe we will be elite enough to be like the E in his name eventually and get you back one more time in the future. But welcome everybody, Nerdwords, coming in and joining us here. It's like
Hello.
whole crew kind of together here. It would have been interesting if we got you on a show with Steven, because then it would have been like the whole Ink Gamers thing, kind of all
I know, right?
connected in
I'll just
there.
jump off the call then.
Oh, okay. If we want to do
Yeah.
that,
Steven,
I see you on Skype. I'm just
Man,
gonna link you in right now.
kick me out.
Yeah.
I am not an Ink Gamers podcaster.
Well, join the club, scrub.
I listen to it.
I'm sure, probably, if you asked Flux, he'd probably be more than happy to have you on.
We'll just talk about
We just talk about his demon hunter.
What's
LT
that?
and Flux need to do more podcasts.
They would do.
Let's talk about lore.
They would do an amazing
That would
lore
be
podcast, and by
The most
amazing, I
amazingly
mean
sarcastic and inaccurate.
horrible. Yeah,
It would be very accurate and great and entertaining.
we would just have to get Twiz, from Twizcast and the Heroes Power Hour to go and chime in with his lore segment in there, and it would just be complete. We would have like the beginnings of Diablo 4 right there. Believe you me.
They need to hire us. I would be happy to talk lore all day, every day.
I would one day like to work on the Blizzard creative writing team at one point. If I just, didn't suck at writing, that would be great. Otherwise, I will just have to, sit here and enjoy the things that they do. Which, actually, I guess getting a little bit off topic, not really anything pertaining to Diablo, skipping the weeks in gaming for right now, as well as Nerdwords introduction. We're talking about books, and they don't have anything set up at the moment. But Blizzard has changed publishing companies.
That's not off topic.
It is a little bit, because they've not announced any Diablo books. They announced the Illidan novel to coincide with Legion, and they announced a StarCraft 2 novel to do the wrap-up in the aftermath of the events of Legacy of the Void. And this is just one thing that I kind of got excited about, because a couple episodes ago, or more than that, I talked about how awesome it would be if my favorite Star Wars writer, Timothy Zahn, wrote a StarCraft novel. And, well, I think it is March of next year. Timothy Zahn is releasing a StarCraft novel.
Heyo.
Yeah, of course.
Did you do StarCraft lore as well?
Little tiny bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I've read most of the novels on there. I actually don't like most of them. They just weren't that great until they got to the StarCraft 2. So like Heaven's Devils, Devil's Zone, those are actually really good, really good. But I do think that this means that Nate Kenyon and Richard Knack might not be writing any more Diablo novels anymore, since they are part of Random House, or not Random House. They are part of Pocket Books and not Random House, which is the new publishing company. But I mean, this is still gonna be pretty interesting, like what they are gonna be able to offer with a Random House is just like the largest book publisher on the face of the planet, so they have a lot more authors and such that you can tap into. It's gonna be pretty cool. Anyways,
so what you're saying is they have open spots to write, and they need me to write Diablo lore for them.
Yeah. Go ahead, throw in your application.
Just write a fanfic.
You can use me as a reference. I promise.
I can use you as what?
You can use me as a reference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nineball said I'm good.
Yeah. Totally. But they did
awesome.
Like I said, they did not announce a Diablo novel. Not that that means that they won't have one, but I wonder if they're waiting on announcing it until they announce something else
Expansion.
big at BlizzCon. We will have to see. It'll be interesting what they do. But
Nope.
anyways, regressing past the rant. So tell me, Chris, how has your weekend gaming been?
Oh man, well, really, it's like 3 weeks in gaming, isn't it?
Thereabouts.
1, 2, yeah. So it's really 3 weeks. I'm just gonna sum it up and say, R.I.P. Barbarian. Man. Okay, so I had a good 3 weeks. Like I played like almost every night. I've been playing quite a bit. Getting my gems up, getting getting everything anciented out. That's a word. Just getting where we need to be. Like, playing with people almost every night, and just doing my thing. And then last night, so like the night before we the night before we have a show, I'm just running T8 riffs, like nothing big. I was running by myself for a while, and then we had a fan of the show, and darn it, I can't remember how to say his name. I think it's like Clairval. He ended up joining me for a little bit, and we were mowing through riffs like just easy, like Netflix mode. And I was talking to people in TeamSpeak, because we no longer have raid call. Spoiler alert. But yeah, so I was just talking to people and just enjoying my night. And then out of nowhere, like we're in a rift, and I just for some reason, I think there were a ton of arcane centuries, and I dropped about half a health. I was like, oh crap, that's more than usual, so I needed to get out. And as I was leaving, my screen just freezes, and I'm like, well, that sucks. And I was like, okay, whatever, and then my screen is still frozen. TeamSpeak, I hear Altair shout, oh no. And I'm like, what? I figured that everyone else was lagging a bunch too. Mm-hmm. I figured it was like a whole server thing where people were just like, oh no. And then right when the lag caught back up, it said your character has died or whatever, blah blah blah.
Your deeds of valor shall be remembered.
Yep, that one. So I lost my main barb last night, and this is actually the first time I've ever lost a character to lag, and it really is a different feeling than when you lose it to something of your own doing. Granted, it was kind of my own doing because I had dropped to half health, but man, it's I don't feel I feel frustrated because it wasn't really in my control, but at the same time I'm like, well, there's nothing I really could have done about it. So so what is there? There's not much I could have done about it. Lag's gonna happen, so I'm not upset about it, and I'm not really okay, I need to take a break from the game, blah blah blah, because I've got friends that do that, and so I feel okay. Luckily, this past weekend, at really early in the morning, no one was on, and so I was like, all right, I'll just level up another barb. And so I got another barb leveled up this weekend, luckily. He was at 63, and then Clairval helped me finish him up at 70, so thank you, sir, for helping with that. But yeah, so I have a brand new barb, haven't even equipped her yet, but I lost my main set, lost some pretty good 9-ball, and Leviathan and I were talking this afternoon that I think my biggest loss that I'm going to miss the most is going to be my gems, unfortunately, but
that's just time, luckily.
Yep. Yeah. Luckily, it's just time, and I think we were even talking because I'm really low on rift keys right now too, and so I think what I'm just gonna do is throw on my whirlwind barb, and I'm missing a few pieces for the speed build, but just speed run it and try to build those suckers up. So that has been my night in gaming, really. It's not my weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Another quick point, though, I wanted to make really fast. Not really my weekend gaming, but within the past 3 weeks, it's happened as well. I am no longer writing articles at BlizzPro. I would still consider myself a part of BlizzPro, particularly because of this the show is hosted by BlizzPro. They're awesome over there.
Yep.
Yeah, just a little.
Just a little.
Yeah. No, but I mean, even outside of that, I would still consider myself as part of the Diablo BlizzPro team. I love like everybody there and at BlizzPro, and everyone there is awesome. But right now, I'm not able to write articles. It's just I feel like my time was too spread out to too many different things, and I kind of need to hone in my focuses and real world things. Real world things have been getting in the way with family and house and all those things, and so as of now, I will not be writing articles. We do have some new people coming on board right now, so I'm excited for those. I'll be doing a little bit of recruiting as well, I think. So I will still be around like the BlizzPro site, just not in article form. So.
Nevik in chat wants to know who's going to write the lore articles now.
The lore articles. Well, for lore articles, you're gonna have to come straight to me. So you send in an email, and I will answer them on the show. And don't you worry, Nevik. Don't you worry, sir. So I got you.
Also, Virtual Junkie in chat. I think that this is a first timer in here for the show. I don't remember seeing you around. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Just also kind of made the comment about how the game automatically takes a screenshot at your moment of death. Maybe we should do like a new section of the show where we.
That's a really good idea.
Put us in your dead characters.
That's a really good idea. Oh, I just popped mine up really fast, and yeah, it's not fun. See, Clairval is really low in health too. He's at like 25%. So yeah, it's sad.
Uh-oh.
So
we're
yeah.
My screen's locked up here for the moment, but it looks like on the other screen it's fine.
You sound good.
Yep.
So anyway, yeah. So that's my week in gaming. Mr. Nerdwords, how you doing, man?
Yes.
Let's hear about
fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. How's your week in gaming?
It's been okay. It's been good. I did.
Okay.
That was okay. That was so casual of you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I just grinding. It's season 4. Grinding. I got in the top. I think I hit 400 on the leaderboard. I cleared a 60. That's the highest I've cleared so far. I think. What's up?
Solo.
Yeah, solo.
Okay.
In group I cleared like 64, 65, I think, but in solo I did 60. I just tried it too. I'm not really trying to push right now because I'm Paragon like 515. Not really a whole lot of point in pushing just yet. I want to get more Paragons where you can really compete. But in good news though, the solo wizard cleared 74 on EU, which is like the highest.
Yeah, which is insane.
So awesome. I mean, it just shows what Archon can do, which is cool. So it's kind of feels a little bit better, but yeah, so just playing the wizard nonstop. I jumped in a little bit for the double bounty cachet weekend. Got enough materials to get my 100 achievement or seasonal journey thing, and then just doing greater rifts, playing with friends. It slowed down a little bit from the beginning of the season, but I actually got some of my old friends to come back to the game, so I've had a pretty steady group of guys coming through. So it's been nice.
Yeah, it really has.
How's your weekend gaming been?
Mine has actually been pretty good. What is it? I got the break-even point or the mirror point or whatever you want to call it, where my non-seasonal, my seasonal character has now matched the Paragon level of my non-seasonal character. And,
oh, okay.
Yeah, so
I'm not quite there. I'm getting there though.
Yeah, well, mine was much easier to do because I'm only like 498. So yeah, that's a lot easier to attain, to catch up on. Like you, I put in a lot of hours this weekend, so unfortunately I didn't get to do as much bounties as I wanted, but I think I have enough to come just shy of the 100 cubes. It really sucks that the non-class items don't count.
Yes, oh my god, dude,
Yeah, so, because I would be there already. Would it not for all the flails and shields that don't count? But I've leveled up a witch doctor now to make that a little bit easier, because there'll be other items that he can cube that the crusader can't, that I'll have access to, that are not class set items and such. So we'll see.
See, it's weird because I don't know if those are actually working as intended, because I unlocked the cube 100 items before I unlocked the cube 50, or like the extract 50 powers, and maybe I missed something and like there are slightly different requirements, but I got my achievement for the 100 items, and then I got my seasonal journey for 50 items, like probably 10 to 15 items later after I got the 100 item achievement.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I was missing something or.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that's just because like class items don't count. So like for you, it'd be the barbarian belts and the
mighty weapons.
Mighty weapons.
But
Yeah.
but why would the 100? Why would it count towards the 100 and not the 50? Is my.
I think it's just a
someone's
bug.
saying.
I heard
Yeah.
it was a bug being
Some
addressed.
people are saying non-seasonal, but I didn't really do a whole lot of cubing in non-season.
Yeah.
Right, it's just the class-specific ones. Actually, I was in the Blizz Pro raid call whenever I found out about it. But yeah, no, I had the same problem. I've cubed way more than 100, but a lot of them were wizard offhands or wizard wands, so I'm not getting the credit for it right now. But they'll either patch it and fix it to where it does, or I'll end up getting more items and filling it anyway. It's just a matter of time, you know.
Yep. That's what I just kept going. I was like, whatever. I'm just gonna keep going, and maybe it'll get at the achievement eventually, because that's kind of what I'm hoping for bounties. Like I've completed 1,000 bounties a long time ago, and for some reason I still haven't got that achievement. So Blizzard, if you're listening, hook me up because I want my achievement.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to tangent.
No, there wouldn't be an episode
That's true.
if we didn't. You know, to be honest. Also, sorry about the music there. I forgot to click off the autoplay, so it just continued to go through. Luckily, it kept on Diablo 2 music because I'm going through and setting it here. And next up was Torchlight.
Nice.
Next up is Gwen Stefani, no doubt.
You really wouldn't have been able to have told the difference when it went over to Torchlight. You even throw in some Burning Crusade, and you still won't know. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been. That's what I want to go and focus on, and that's one of the last things I did was I just leveled up a Witch Doctor to 70, so that way I could do the Greater Rift 40 with no set and attempt to do the Greater Rift 60 solo, because that's just not gonna happen on the Crusader. Sadly, I'm not that good.
You can get there.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the Crusader, the power, its power right now?
I mean, keeping it around like Greater Rift 50 and it's fine. Going up from there and it just has a problem with like the damage scaling. You're just hitting things with the Blessed Hammers like so much and having to go and do the stutter step. It's not a type of gameplay that I really was enjoying that much. Like I leveled up a backup Crusader because I had a lot of close calls. And once I got the backup Crusader, I just threw some of my Roland's gear that I had in there, and I enjoyed that type of gameplay a lot more. Just getting up in their face and going and meleeing and such. Although I mean the power level difference is huge. The Seeker of the Light is considerably more powerful than Roland's, but just like the type of gameplay, having like the movement skill built directly into your damage dealing, so that way I can just zip across the field, just shield bash, shield bash, shield bash. It's just, I don't know, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, really liked it, but because I want to actually try and take the seasonal journey seriously before the end of the season, I leveled up the Witch Doctor just so that way I could kind of go through and help me along there.
Sweet.
Yep.
That's a funny statement, right? Like you had to level a Witch Doctor over a Crusader to get that. That's just a weird statement.
Not something we're used to.
Yeah,
it's very different, right?
Yeah, definitely, because I mean, that would be one of those ones where it's like, oh, okay, you went from like one of the worst to the one of the second worst. Okay, that doesn't really seem to help you that much. But, this season,
the gap, that gap is high enough.
It's huge.
Sure, we'll discuss that later, though.
Yeah, it can be. Well, I mean, we don't have too much on the plate as far as game discussion goes.
News or anything.
We got obviously there's not been much news, so the last 2 weeks we haven't really missed too much. But yeah, I mean, we could go through and talk about it. definitely talk about it.
I'm up for it.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? I'm just
I
kidding.
guess just like the power level difference, because I mean, in
Yeah.
order to even like, if you wanted to like for the Crusaders, if you wanted to do the seasonal journey as just playing a Crusader, it would put you in the top 20 um, Crusaders, just for having done it. I mean, number 17 has cleared it in 14 minutes 59.78 seconds.
Yeah.
So you're talking just being able to barely clear Greater Rift 60 at a bare minimum will put you in the top 20 Crusaders
That's crazy.
on NA at least.
I didn't
So
realize that.
yeah, so that is kind of like the level of difference from a hardcore perspective. I
Yo.
should say it is pretty different when you go back over to the softcore side. It's not as stringent, but even then, I mean, you're talking about putting you in like the top 175.
Yeah.
Yeah, in
It's
order in
still
order to
up
get
there.
into
So
there, yeah, you're like top 200 in order to get it. Or actually, no, not that bad. So like top 400. So that's
yeah.
not too bad. So there is a lot of potential there in order to go through and get it on softcore, but just that level of power difference, going from something like a witch doctor or a barbarian to a crusader. It hasn't been like this bad um, since season one, really. They've been
Yeah.
pretty good about kind of like
Mm-hmm.
going and closing in that gap, but now it's kind of like gotten to like the six rift difference, and that's pretty big.
I would
Well, that kind of makes
encourage.
sense too, right? Like that
Hmm.
like with them adding in the cube, it's going to magnify different issues that the game has, right? And so it's kind of it makes sense. It's just it's weird how much it's magnified certain things, like the witch doctor and wizard and crusader, and where they compare to monk or barb or everything
Hmm.
else that's going on with the amount of what's being played, especially at the top end. But yeah, it's crazy. And there'll be adjustments and stuff for sure. But right now, the game's in a weird spot when it comes to class balance.
I would
Yep.
encourage anybody who doesn't follow Monstrous on Twitter to go check out one of his tweets, and I'll actually post it here in Twitch chat. But he posted a really interesting leaderboard class representation, like
Yeah,
pie charts. Man, that is eye opening because like what he did is he
yeah,
compared season 1 through 4 and like the
Hmm.
breakout of classes at the I believe it was like the top 150, 150 bill like uh excuse me, top 150 breakouts, or what am I trying
It's
to say?
for the four player, it's the top 100. For the three players, top 150. Two players, top 200, and solo is top 250.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, and so, but it's interesting to see that like how the meta shifted into like from season 1 into season 4, and unfortunately how lopsided season 4 is, and it's completely full of barbarians and monks and
yeah.
almost
It's split 50-50.
everything. Yeah, and
Hmm.
like in all the other seasons, there's usually like 3 or 4 classes that are kind of around the highest, running the highest group compositions. But then in
Hmm.
season 4, even the 4 player group compositions are made of like 2 barbs and 2 monks, or
Yeah, it's
something
before.
similar to that.
Before it was always, it's like Demon Hunter Master Race, type thing. But Demon Hunter's only like in that the worst in season one, they made up like 49% um, of the
Yeah.
top 100 or the top 100 for like the four player groups. Um,
Mm-hmm.
whereas now barbarians are like 52%
Hmm.
for
Yeah,
season four so far. And that it really is like before you saw a lot of purple in seasons one through three with the demon hunters, always making up a pretty the largest portion of the pie, with the exception of like the two player group in season three, which they were eclipsed by witch doctors. But other
yeah,
than that, it's like demon hunters at least they had a seat at the table like every single in every single segment. And then now you go through and you look at season four, and it's just like every type of group play is like 50. It's like 50 47. Barbarian monk, and then all the other classes fit into like that last other 3%. And then in
Hmm.
solo play, barbarians are making up like over 60% the top 200 places on Paragon progression, with some
Yeah.
like little slices for Monk Witch Doctor, a little tiny bit for Wizards, and then you can't even see Crusader or Demon Hunter
Dude,
on the
if
map.
I've tried joining, if you try, like, if you do, like, Torment 8 or Torment 9, Torment 10, or Torment 8 or Torment 9, like, Greater Rift, like, public games, you jump in, you can get a group here and there, and it's fine. But if you go to Torment 10, you get into, like, a serious group, Paragon 5 or 600 and up. And, like, I jumped into a game, 3 monks, and just one by one, they just quit the game. And then another monk jumps in, another barb jumps in, another barb jumps in, and then barb quits, monk. I'm just sitting there just like, really? Like, I can solo this, but okay, fine. But that's
Is
really,
it because you're a wizard is why they're quitting?
yeah, like, literally, it's that bad for the class
Man.
specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's not necessarily. I mean, it's always going to be that way. But you see the other seasons; it's not like there was equal representation across the board. But
Yeah,
That's
it
true.
makes
That's true.
sense for a demon hunter to have that representation because the damage on the demon hunter. What doesn't make sense is for the monk and the barb to be the best support and damage in the game right now.
Right.
That's the problem. But they didn't. There's no way for them to address that until they get the season fleshed out. Now that they see it, we can kind of get the other classes up there. But right now, man, it really sucks trying to play group play if you're not a monk or a barb.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that it just, I guess it's when you go into the kind of like the class breakup. It was never, even in the heyday of the Demon Hunter, it was never quite this unbalanced. You always had at least, kind of like in the previous seasons, you could definitely tell what the support classes were and what the damage was, because you have Demon Hunter making up the biggest portion, and then kind of like the rest of it kind of like split evenly between Crusaders and Witch Doctors, which at the time were the best support classes.
Demon Hunter was always the strongest DPS. In season 3, the Wizards did creep in, and like the Taurasha Wizard and a Demon Hunter together, I think, was the top clear for the season in a 4-player group. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And now it's just, I mean, I literally, like, it's funny because when Monsters posted that tweet, I was in the middle of writing an article about the exact same thing, but I didn't do a pie graph, and his looked way cooler, so I just left it alone. but like, so, like, I'm looking at his stats, and, like, I had gone through the leaderboards that day. Like, I had gone, and we had recorded the previous.
I feel like I remember you saying something about that on Twitter.
Yeah. And, like, literally, like, I scanned down, like, all the way, I read every single player on the list, right? And it was literally monks and barbs all the way down. And the first wizard on the 4-player leaderboard was one wizard, and only one wizard was on that leaderboard in the top 1,000 of 4-player groups. And he was in the 709th team, and that was it. And he was just running a basic Archon set. He wasn't even running a group build. So it was just like, it shows that, like, there was literally one wizard on the 4-player leaderboard of 1,000 teams. Out of 4,000 people on that leaderboard, one wizard. Yeah. And Witch Doctors and Demon Hunters had, like, maybe a handful. Crusaders had none, and barbs and monks were literally about half. It was 2 and 2. But yeah, then he posted that tweet, and I was like, well, this article's pointless now, so I'll just
just summed it all up in the tweet.
Yeah. But it's just, but again, they always say that it's not World of Warcraft, right? They're not gonna make the classes completely balanced. It'd be almost impossible, if not completely, to do. But
and it's not as big of an investment as if you're saying, well, if World of Warcraft, if they're not balanced, then you suffer because it takes so long to get up to that highest level. Whereas in Diablo, if your class isn't imbalanced, that's okay, because you can either level that character up, or you don't have to do exactly what like that group composition, and it's not as competitive either, right?
Yeah, it's also one of those ones where, like, you're in World of Warcraft, you're competing for a raid spot. It's a limited. You have a limited resource, and if you're going for the cutting edge stuff, well, sorry, we don't have room for druids. You're back of the bus type thing. Whereas in Diablo, it's just kind of like, hey guys, I wanna go through and bring my Crusader. Okay, we'll run a 57. We'll run a 60, 62 or something like that. You can't push at the end, but you don't have, like, this finite resource or these finite number of slots that you get pushed out, and you can only do it once a week or something like that. It's just if you have friends, then you can go through and do it. If you play solo, it does kind of like suck, kind of like looking out with sadness, where it's like raining on your side of the street and you're watching all the other kids, play because it's sunny over there, and
That's
type
how my
thing.
wife feels about babies.
Yeah. So, it's like for me, it's just it's been interesting that ever since season 1, they've kind of been reining it in, and like the disparity between classes has been closing in, where it used to have like the 8 Paragon level or 8 Grifts difference, like in season 1, and then they kind of like shrunk it down to like 6, and then you had like 5, where before it was like like the top class was only like 5 Grift levels ahead of the lowest level, and then now we're like back up to 7 between the two of them. And so, and who
Yeah.
knows, like how far that range is,
And that,
going
well,
to
see, that's not
expand
even
out.
the average, right? That's the top players in those categories. If you took the average of the average players in those categories, it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like barbs can easily clear 60 and up, 65 and up. Like Leviathan made a good point in chat, right? It has a lot to do with the fact that they're not just doing good damage, their mobility is so good that they're doing that damage and able to clear faster.
Yeah.
The problem with classes like the Crusader or the Witch Doctor or the Wizard, that you're having to stop and cast or do these individual things. Now, that doesn't mean we should make it to where everyone can just run and blow everything up while they're running, but they'll dial it in and figure something out. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Man, it's weird though, right?
It does. It adds up a lot.
Yep.
Stopping and casting
it's the
adds
cube,
up a
right?
lot.
Like it shows the difference of the pool of items, right? The quality of passives that a barb and a monk have, right? Or the quality of legendary affixes that they can use to boost their character, as opposed to some of the other classes. And what like wizard passive skills compared to barb give me any of them. I remember you saying that a long time ago.
This was actually this was a topic back in Ink Gamers a long time ago, where it's like playing a monk and then looking at a barb. It's like I would give up any of my passives to have like the one like barb passive that like only 5% of all players used, and because it was just like increased damage by like 5%. It was something stupid that none of them used, and it was like, well, that's better than anything else that I had to offer back in the day.
And I think too that a lot of it is outdated game mechanics that need to be updated, right? Like when the game launched and the way the Inferno difficulty worked and everything worked, it was necessary for a barb and a monk to get reduced damage because they were in melee range. But now literally every class in the game plays a melee build. I mean, the Natalia set from Demon Hunter is a very melee-based build. You're in the thick of everything, right? Wizard and Archon, very melee-based build. Why don't we have the damage reduction? Because we have half the survivability that they have and not the damage to compensate. So it's like, but again, they can address that stuff. They could easily just drop that damage reduction across the board or take it away from the barbs and monks, or, or Crusader has it too, right? But to a lesser degree.
No, It was a couple. It took them a couple mini patches. It was before 2.1, but they finally gave in. I think shortly after Reaper released, because they first started with none, and then they gave them 15%, and then shortly after Reaper released, they were like, you know what, screw it, here, full 30%.
Yeah. But again, a lot of the stuff will be addressed, but it's weird right now.
So what are your guys' opinions on them addressing it before season 4 ends? Like, are you guys okay with that? Or do you think they should wait?
For the validity of the season itself, I don't think they should. As much as it kind of sucks to play a Crusader.
That's what gets hard about it, because then you're like, okay, well then, my Crusader is basically dead until 3 months from now.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones where it's like it took me 45 minutes solo to level my Witch Doctor to 70. So it's like,
I mean,
if you're really concerned about the seasonal, it's like one of those ones. It's like, are you concerned about playing like just this class, or are you concerned about getting the seasonal journey? I'm concerned. As much as I want to play the Crusader, I'm concerned about getting the seasonal journey, and it's really not that big of a time investment to go through and gear up another character. Now that I have a character that's capable of going through, doing Greater Rift 50, Torment 10, or just joining in some like Greater Rift 60-ish groups and such, I can go through, funnel shit ton of blood shards into the Witch Doctor, get them geared up, and be good to go, and just hop right in there. Because of the kind of like the power level difference, it will take less time to get the Witch Doctor into those groups to then get myself geared up so I can do the 60 clear.
Right, and it does take long, but like, so how long, or not how long? So like, Nerdwards, how do you feel then? Since like you're a person who you play the Wizard, and like that's your class. Like, granted, you might play something else once in a while, but like, I mean, Wizard's doing like they're not great right now, but like they're okay. But like if they was in the position
Solo
of
were
like,
fantastic. It's not the Wizards not good. It's just that solo we're fantastic, and we have nothing to give a group, and none of our abilities are benefited from group buffs.
Mm-hmm.
Like so, a monk and a barb in a group doesn't really affect Archon because it just adds on to what I'm already doing instead of multiplying what I'm already doing. So it doesn't mesh right, but it's solo plays fantastic. And if you look at it in that vacuum, it's fine. Same with Crusader, right? Like Crusader's not clearing crazy high, but if you're chasing solo leaderboard, you still have a lot of fun with that.
Oh,
the
yeah.
problem comes when you're playing with a 4-man group of people, when you've got friends you leveled with from level 1, and then you start hitting Paragon 500, 600. They're wanting to push, greater of 60, 65, 70, and I can do that, but I need to skip every elite pack because I don't have the output to take down an elite pack. And so, they have to change their entire play style. And, it's great if you have communication, but if you're trying to jump into a public game or just do a pickup group real quick and run some high-end riffs, it's not easy to do. And most of the time they'd rather just pass you up for somebody else. I mean, the joke is the best way to play a wizard in group right now is a reroll barb. So,
so how do you handle that then? Like, do you just say, all right, well, screw it, I'm not going to be part of the 4-man groups,
no,
or do you
I have a healing monk, a pull monk.
Okay, all right, there we
go. I just basically insert myself into the group dynamic and make them change their play style to help me. So instead of taking down elites, we just go up and pull, and dude, we're clearing nice, but we have to get a better mesh. So it's possible, and we'll get on the leaderboards and stuff. We haven't pushed that hard yet, but it's one of those things to where it's not that, and I'm not going to go into the wizard stuff because I always do, but it's not that it's in a bad place. It's just that it requires so much less energy for these other classes to perform well than the wizard does, which is fine. It's fun, but man, it's overly complicated.
Yeah. So like, I mean, ultimately, my question would be like, do you like, given the place the wizard is in, if say they're not sustainable in a 4-man high greater rift group, do you re-roll something different, or do you just say, all right, whatever, like I'm giving what I'm given? But what you're saying is you're gonna roll something else.
No, ever, never. I would never roll something else. I would make it work.
Did you just say you have a monk?
No, I have a Crusader. No, I don't have a character. Like my group is still monk, barb, but I am a wizard in a monk, barb group. And instead of clearing all the elites, we just push groups as if I'm playing solo. They just chase me around using movement skills and get my Archon stacks up, and I'm the primary damage dealer for the group. So it works, and it's great.
So you figure out how to make it work with the wizard.
Right, but it's not going to work as good as monk, barb any day.
Okay, I like that train of thought.
But it's still fun. I think it's fun. So.
You passed my quiz.
Yep.
I will never, ever switch.
Yeah.
Will you never even try something different?
I'm actually
season 2 or 3.
I'm kind of looking forward to 2.4 in the melee witch doctor, or not melee witch doctor, melee demon hunter.
Yeah, that does sound really cool.
Yeah.
And they're also looking at a couple of the wizard sets too, Talrashas and Delsairs, which would be pretty cool. Oh no, Firebirds and Delsairs.
Mm-hmm. And also Akans, probably Roland's as well, Invoker.
Yeah.
So they've got a lot that they're going to be working on.
I think that's what they're going to do, right? Is that they've got a good power level for monks and barbs. Obviously, they're doing well. So now if they just take the other classes, demon hunter, witch doctor, crusader, and wizard, and take their older sets that are kind of outdated that came out with Reaper, and get them up to par, then the game will be in a really good spot, and we'll kind of see where it goes from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see. I don't think that they're introducing any new sets in 2.4, or at least it's too early for them to say anything about that. We didn't get that from the Reddit Q&A, but they are going to be going back and giving a polish on the few sets that haven't been touched on, like Shadow's Bane, Invoker, and they'll be going back and readdressing some of the older sets like, Marauders, Jade, a whole bunch of other ones that have dropped off. Their gameplay has just dropped off because they.
Which I love that.
I do too.
That's a great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I mean, especially if you look at Helltooth, like Helltooth looks badass now. Like,
yeah,
they did a really good job set, and I'd like to see how that translates to the rest of the classes.
I like that they're redoing things that already exist. I don't feel like they always need to add new stuff all the time. We talk about this a lot in Raid Call. The difference between adding new things or refining existing things, and I love that they're saying, all right, we're going to refine this stuff that's already in here rather than just make them completely obsolete. So
Mm-hmm.
sweet.
Yeah. Well, I'm moving on from the topic that wasn't in the show notes and still ended up being 30 minutes long.
Yep. Sorry.
No,
That's
I
okay because
started
we didn't
it.
have any.
You
We
can't
didn't
do
really have
something.
any huge things to talk
Yeah.
about, so I think it's okay.
Hot fixes.
Yeah.
Hellfire amulet? That's about the only one. I think.
Yeah. Even though
Oh, they
this was.
enabled.
Yeah, this was a week ago, so most of you already probably know about this one, but we haven't had a show since this happened. But there's the exploit that allowed you to benefit from wearing multiple Hellfire amulets at once. You basically just had, for at least the non-hardcore characters, you just had to die a lot, and as soon as the durability on the Hellfire amulet broke, um, you would gain the passive permanently. So that way people were able to go through and equip every single passive in the game, and this of course led to them being able to push higher on the leaderboards and such. It took a little bit, like I think it was almost a week, for Blizzard to go and address it and get a hot fix or patch in a solution. And just like they did for the people that were doing the blood shard exploit so long ago, people that were found to have used it and pushed higher into the leaderboards were banned. Many of them got a permanent ban. Some of them got, I think, just a temporary ban, like like 1 week or a couple days.
Yeah,
And anyone that might have just messed around with it and like tried it once or something along those lines, they no account actions were taken, and you were effectively pardoned from any wrongdoing.
I love the excuse. Well, I didn't know what I was doing.
I saw so many of those, on
Oh my
Reddit
gosh.
and such, and it's just, it's like, oh, that's not true. I only did it once and I got permabanned. Something's not adding up here. Yeah, I did it once and got rank 7, so it's like,
Yeah, right.
yeah, totally, sure. But yeah, there were a lot of people went through and got banned. Leaderboards were scrubbed. If you were, that's the one thing I think. Even if you didn't have like any actions taken against your account, if you were found to have benefited from the exploit, you were removed from the leaderboards. So
Get him out of here.
yeah, that and Virtual Junkie is just now saying that in chat too. So yeah, if you had benefited from it or had ever used it, all of your placements on the leaderboards were removed. Not that if you weren't really exploiting it that much, if you were able to go and get that high with one extra passive, I'm sure you're able to get back to that position that you had on the leaderboard, without it. Unless, of course, that position on the leaderboard was like 998, then yeah, maybe you might be struggling a little bit there. But yeah, so it's nice to go through and see. This is just kind of like the blood shard exploit. It's something that really affected the competitiveness and the validity of the season, and they were able to go through pretty quickly, squash it, and issue out some bans. I guess really the last like big thing now, and kind of like the last hot topic as far as exploits go, is like botting. If they get something to more effectively combat that.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that's. I feel like that's.
That'll be a top. That'll be a show in and of itself.
I could talk for 3 hours about it. So
I think you did on the
podcast that I'm on. Just yeah.
How do you feel about botting?
I think it's fantastic.
No, sir. I don't like it.
Yeah. We all Westmarch Workshop, man, like we all hate cheating. So if you guys are listening to this show and you're thinking about like, well, maybe I'll try this exploit out, like, man, just don't do it. Like, it's so stupid. Like
go play console. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is. It's right there.
Do your thing.
Although we have console listeners, and they'll probably be like, "No, don't do that."
Yeah, actually, no. They do, because I mean, the people that play console and play it for real have communities where they meet up, because you can't play public games on console. So they know what's up.
It reminds me of the old like D2 single player community.
Yeah.
Sure. Was the closed realm or open realm? Open realm.
No, they didn't really do open realm. They would like open realm every once in a while just to like trade items, but yeah, otherwise they that's the only time they would ever be in a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, botting was bad. Hellfire bad.
Oh, and the same way went out in EU and China as well. It wasn't just the US.
Yeah, well, everyone that was affected. They also, I guess, on a positive note, they removed some bounties that were having problems where mobs were spawning outside of the map that you couldn't complete.
Yep.
So those at least now are not going to be taking up slots. So you should hopefully be able to complete the bounties. They did that right in time for the double bounty bountiful weekend.
Well, they just re-enabled some that they fixed too, right?
I thought
Have
I
they
saw some
re-enabled?
of those.
Yeah.
I thought I saw some.
I don't
but-
think it was all of them. It was just like 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually quite a few that they're having problems with. Looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were quite a bit.
I thought I saw some re-enables, but I don't see them now. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, they all said we'll re-enable this at a later date, but I didn't see any
Yeah.
that actually got turned back on.
I didn't either.
I
don't know.
It's somewhere. There's a post on the site. I know.
Okay.
But
But they've made quite a few hot fixes in the past 2 or 3 weeks.
yeah,
since
they've done
we've been
3 or
on.
4. They're always small though, very very small.
Which is cool that a lot of most of these don't require like a downloaded patch saying, hey, you have to download this first before you can log in.
Yeah.
It's nice that they're kind of starting to circumvent that part of it, and they can just roll these small changes out quickly. So
well, and it's changes, things like changes to items and bounties and stuff like that. It really is just kind of like on the back end. There's not much that has to be done to the client side.
So yeah, that's cool to see.
Yep. And kind of somewhat on the topic of hot fixes, many people were experiencing a really bad lag in the Desolate Sands.
Yes.
Anything that was doing like the Desolate Sands, the Act 2 tile set. I know Lala, who was on our last episode, she had horrible lag, like disconnected, could not join the game if it loaded into Desolate Sands or the what was it, the cesspool. That was it. She was just done. She could play and you could see her character move around, but the screen would just stay black. No, it couldn't see anything. They have come out with some beta drivers. This was something that was affecting just people with AMD video cards, but they come out with some beta drivers which should hopefully address the issue that people have been having with Diablo 3. So
and I will say that I actually had the issue. It wasn't Act 2 necessarily, but it was it was Act 2. It was Desolate Sands, but it was also the Blood March in Act 5. It was a couple different zones, but it was always in a rift. You'd get to like Greater Rift or like whatever level it was, like 2, and like you'd go into the door, and then your load screen would stay on your screen, and you could hear the sounds of monsters hitting you and you attacking, but you couldn't see anything besides the load screen. But this was before the beta drivers came out. So instead of doing the beta drivers, I just reinstalled old drivers and it worked fine. I was good to go. So if the beta drivers still aren't working, just uninstall a previous edition and it will work for you, I promise.
Maybe that's why I got disconnected last night. Except for I don't use AMD.
Well, I think they're also just having some sort of instability with the server too, because this season's been crazy with lag.
This season has had its fair share of issues, and I find it really funny that the first huge lag incident came when they hot fixed in development tools to better track bugs, and then they created a whole bunch of stability issues with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. They'll get it right though. They always do.
Yeah. Just kind of we've got season 4 is just it's one of those kind of like in between seasons. I wonder if this is going to be like Windows. Every other one has problems.
Oh yeah.
That's a good point.
That being said, though, I still absolutely have been loving season 4.
Well, and I feel like that's kind of the general consensus, and we've been talking about that a little bit in our team speak and stuff. Is that while like the season is slowing down and like people have been logging on less, I feel like it took a lot longer this time around for that initial hype to die down. people seem to, and still, like, I mean, our clan is still super active right now. Like right now we've got 24 people online, and that's pretty good for 150.
Well, the
Yeah.
cube and the change to bounty added so much more gameplay, so many more things you could do or grind out. So even though you get things faster, there's still exponentially more things to do. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things that you still feel like you need to do. Like if you want to progress your character as far as you can, like you're like, I mean, I know, like I'm always like, well, crap, I have so many things to do. What is it that I need to do the most right now? And
I need a bot because I need Paragon levels. Apparently,
I need a bot. There you go.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. There it is. Anyways, moving on.
But,
anything else that you guys have to talk about?
I don't think so.
Anything? Nothing? Anyone?
No, that's good.
Nope,
I mean,
nope.
I think the other hot button issue was the gold sync, right? Like gold is so exponential this season.
Oh yeah, I think I'm like closing in on breaking like 3 billion, which is the most I've ever had.
Yeah,
I have.
Well beyond the most that I've ever had.
Yeah.
And this kind of like ties into on our last episode like a month ago. It's been a while. Sorry. We were asking for ideas about gold sinks because that was one of the things that the developers had hinted at back in that Reddit Q&A. We wanted to kind of get in there and talk about these in a more timely fashion, but that didn't work out. Sorry, everybody. I went to Disney, and then last week there was I had a meeting at work that ended up taking longer than I expected it to.
Oh yeah, we never even talked about like why we were gone, did we?
Yeah, I guess we didn't. We skipped that
Which
one.
is good because last week I felt like death last week, and so
I felt fantastic.
He was here.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah, we still have a couple more of those like gold sync ideas as well as the non-set gameplay ideas that we wanted to touch on and go over. We didn't really get all that many ideas from the like the non-set play.
Mm-hmm.
But this time we did. One of them came in from Dak Shadar, or just Dak. So Dak.
Dak.
Thanks for writing into the show. He had an idea.
I do say I love your name, sir. I think any name that is just a noise wins, in my opinion.
Yeah. Especially if it could also be considered a Star Wars reference.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, exactly. See, there you go.
Double win.
Exactly. His idea was basically like the whole point of the sets is like the 6-piece set bonus, where that's what gives you normally like the damage to go and kill things. That's the big damage dealer. And how about you found a way of kind of condensing that 6-piece set bonus into like a single item by tying this into the cube, where allowing you to craft like a new legendary, where you might be able to craft like a legendary chest or upgrade a legendary chest, something like, or just anything like take something useless like a sash of knives, take a whole bunch of set pieces, throw a sash of knives in, take a whole bunch of set pieces, throw them into the cube, hit that transmog button, and then all of a sudden it converts it into an item with legendary property that is like that 6-piece set bonus. So you can take different pieces of Secret of the Light, throw it into the cube, throw in a random other legendary, and now you have something that increases your Blessed Hammer damage by 750%. So that way it makes it so that way you don't have to wear the set, but you still have the set. Kind of an interesting way of doing it, whereas still keeping, keeping the set in the cube relevant without actually playing with them.
That's an interesting idea.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that would be so much power creep. So
that would be,
that's what I'm saying, like upgrading your gear or whatever.
Greater Rift 100 and beyond.
Yeah.
I think like Lala in your guys' raid call was talking about it when I was in one day, about how like the real problem with it is like you don't want it to be so powerful that it's mandatory, but you don't want to make it so like unpowerful that you're not going to do it. It's finding that balance, and that is way towards the too powerful side. I feel like cool idea, but way power creep.
It's an interesting idea for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So the next email we got was from Rooks. He kind of touched on both topics, um, on legendary items and the gold sync. So I think if I understand his legendary item idea, he was thinking just about making more drops out in the world, um, that benefit legendary items, like similar to like Ramalandi's, um, and so like, only like you'd only be able to use these items on like legendary items rather than on sets,
Hmm.
and so yeah. So I mean, I think the idea would probably be, like you could eventually upgrade each one of your pieces if they are, um, if they are legendary. So, oh, that's kind of interesting idea. Um,
That is interesting.
yeah, I guess it would probably depend on like what those buffs would be, because yeah, but it does kind of solve the issue of, like how do you get away from the set bonuses that you're almost required to have, um, if each legendary item just had just a greater legendary power, which
Yeah.
maybe you don't even then maybe you wouldn't even need the items to upgrade your gear. You just say, okay, these legendaries have greater powers. I don't know. um, I could see that
Hmm.
being big power creep as well pretty quickly.
Yeah. Again,
So
that's a lot of the problem you're gonna run into with this stuff. I feel like, but it's good to be thinking about it. It's something needs to be addressed. I mean, like you said, you're at almost 3 billion gold. I think I'm over 5 now. So it's like it's so much gold, and I'm like not even Paragon 600 yet. Like, but the ability to create vaults and stuff, which is awesome. I don't think it's as big a problem that we have as much gold as we do, because gold has always been kind of irrelevant in Diablo games,
Mm-hmm.
except for vanilla Diablo 3. And Leviathan said in chat too, it's very, very important. Like, high repair is not a fun thing. Like, it's not like you don't want to raise the repair costs to ruin that, because that was a big problem with the vanilla Diablo 3. So it's something we want to kind of keep in check, but at the same time, like, how can you do it?
Yeah.
Um, Okay, so
yeah,
it looks like
it's
yeah, we got another email here too from Ed. Yeah, it looks like Ed. He suggests trading gold for blood shards. It looks like it would have to be at a rate that makes it still like more efficient to get rifts to get shards directly. If you're sitting on a pile of gold and the option was there to pump most of it into some chance of gear, you do it. It's not like we're using the gold for anything else. Might as well just have a mechanism to make it disappear and get something out of it, which I agree with. But again, I feel like same problem, right? Like, if I've got 5 billion gold right now, like, how much gear can I get with that, and what's the
Mm-hmm.
balance? Because holy God. But I do like the idea of trading it for blood shards. I think that's an interesting idea, but I also think that it'd be easier just to make gold like able to buy from Kadala to cut out the middleman currency there.
mhm. It could
Yeah.
be one of those things where you add it as an option to where, like, I think we talked a little bit last episode, is um, there could be multiple options for gold sinks, and that could be like a smaller option where you know, but yeah, like where like you said, where do you draw the line? And if it's
Yeah,
if it's like if it's 1 billion for an item, then someone's gonna find they're eventually gonna find something better to do with their gold.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like, so it'd have to be a really healthy balance.
yeah,
But
Yeah.
it's not a bad idea for like a
yeah. No, I definitely like
secondary
that. It's the
sink
closest one
for.
I've heard that doesn't sound too bad.
Mhm. But actually, so the last guy that we talked about, Rooks, that sent in his email, he actually covered both topics. So I'm going to cover his gold sync idea as well really quickly, because it's a really interesting idea. Um, and so he was saying, what if we could pay Auric money to randomize like a normal rift, with specific modifiers. And so when you threw in, say, like, what's that?
I was just about to say. So this is kind of like the what you call it,
Path of Exile.
Path of Exile idea again.
Yeah, yeah. And so say you'd pay like 500 million gold I don't even know if he said that, but maybe he paid something like that, and it would add like um, two random modifiers to the rift. And so his example was you could do champion elite monsters deal double damage, but
Ooh.
chests and breakable objects have 25% increased chance to drop legendary items. Um, and so he went kind of on with that to say you could even add more modifiers if you want. Um, like so, like maybe like I don't know, like 2 billion gold later or whatever, you have like a list of like 5 or 6 different modifiers that are good and 5 or 6 different modifiers that are bad. And he actually broke out like he listed a whole bunch of different ideas that he had. So like um, the negative ones would be champion elite monsters do double damage, 2 rift guardians spawn, champion and elite monsters have 1 additional ability, monsters move 50% faster and attack 25% faster. Monsters have 100% increased fire resistance and deal 100% increased fire damage. And then completing the rift requires twice as many monster kills. And so that all sounds like, holy crap, there's no way I can do that. But then you also get the positive benefits of chests and breakable objects have 25% increased chance to drop legendary items. Monsters give plus 50% experience. Champion and elite monsters drop 1 additional death's breaths. I can't say it. Reaching a kill streak of 50 or more increases movement speed by 50% for 30 seconds. Rift
Ooh, I like
Guardians.
that.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
too. That
So
one's
like basically
interesting.
like a whole bunch of just like you take these penalties in order to gain certain bonuses in order to either try and help you
Yeah.
clear the rift faster to compensate for some of the other affixes that you're throwing on there, or give you better rewards.
Yeah, he's got really good
Hmm.
ideas in here though, and
Yeah.
they're really interesting.
And
Um,
I like them because they're gameplay based, right? They encourage
Yeah.
you
mhm.
to use your goal to enhance gameplay, and I think that's awesome. I think it's great.
And it's
Yeah.
not something I don't feel like this would be something that you would feel required to do because you are going
Yeah.
to get a harder difficulty if you do this.
Hmm.
Mm.
Um, I really like this idea a lot.
Yeah, it's a pretty
It
cool
sounds
idea.
it sounds like it's similar to Path of Exile or something like that, but
Yeah, it's like their map
I don't think
system.
there's anything wrong with that.
No, it really isn't. I mean, it's that one is definitely like a nice, like that was a very interesting mechanic and kind of is the end game for Path of Exile, and it could open up. It's kind of like it's like a la carte Rift. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
something where every you could even kind of like prep it and like gear yourself specifically for it. Where certain Rift mods would become popular. So, if I can always go through and do something where all champion packs always roll frozen, and then I can wear ice climbers. Just type of things that you can kind of like prep and prepare for.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this isn't something that like you would be saying like I have to do this in order to hit the leaderboards because they're regular rifts and
Hmm.
it doesn't really play a part into the actual competitive portion. I mean, it has an impact, but not like to where you have to do it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Yeah. Well, we've got another one here as far as the gold sinks go. This one is from Derek. He had a couple ideas, and this one, also takes kind of nods from other games. One of his is, like just going through in Hellgate London. Many of you might remember that one.
God,
Uh,
that game was so cool when it came out, except for it was buggy.
yeah. But this one was just allows you buy an item and it will automatically pick up all items of a certain quality for you, but would only pick up like X number of items. So you could go through and buy something and say, this will just automatically pick up like all set pieces that drop, but it will only pick up like the next 20. And so that way it gives you something a consumable item that you constantly go back to and repurchase. Or another one from Guild Wars 2 is an item that allows you to um, salvage items from your stash, but at a gold cost instead.
Hmm.
Interesting.
That's
Hmm.
interesting. Just like
What
kind
if
of
what if
quality of life.
Which brings, what about if they just made it to where salvaging costed gold? A small
That
amount, but it would be a sink. It would work.
it could be a sink, but I feel like that's going to be. I don't see them sort of because it's almost like a like I think Leviathan kind of mentioned it earlier. Like it's like like someone mentioned repair costs, but like it's kind of like an unfun thing. I don't foresee them adding unfun sinks to where like, well, it didn't cost us before, and now suddenly we have
Yeah.
to pay for this crap.
Right, no, you're right, but I feel like it would be okay. I feel like it would be negligible. It'd be bad at the beginning of the season, but it wouldn't be so bad at the end.
Yeah, I don't know. That one is one of those ones where it's like if it's like that's the big thing. If it's negligible by the end of the season, then it's not a very effective gold sink, then is it?
Honestly, it's gonna be negligible regardless. That's the thing about gold sinks in any game ever. They're never consistent. They never will be. Like that's the definite. Like they sink gold that is excess, and if you have excess, eventually, if you play in excess after already having excess, you'll have even more excess. So by definition, it never works. It's just supposed to help with the problem. But what if you could drop 10 billion gold for a stash tab?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then by the end of the season, you still wouldn't. You'd have a ton of gold you weren't using because you didn't need the stash tabs anymore. So eventually, I don't know, but I don't know. I'm also a masochist, and I don't mind paying gold for things that I'm already doing for free. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I think the idea, like, because you're right, like, there's always gonna be like a, you're always gonna have excess gold somehow. But I feel like you can find that balance. Like, I feel like, and I haven't played World of Warcraft lately, and I don't know how it is there, but I feel like they have found a very good balance with their economy to where you're really valuing the gold that you have, and I don't know, like there's always like something to spend your gold on unless you're playing just like
Yeah, though I guess the thing with like World of Warcraft is you have like your crafting system, which requires you to
mm,
either go out into the real world or if you don't have the gathering profession to pay gold for it, which is a gold sink for the majority of people, and then for the super rich you have cosmetic items, which you don't really have as great of a way of doing that inside of Diablo.
yeah, and I don't mean those using those things in specific. I'm more or less mean that I think it is possible to find that balance um, to where you have enough gold to do what you want with, and you're gonna want more gold to do more, but it's never gonna be like I don't have enough gold or I have too much gold. I feel like it's possible to find that balance. I don't know.
Potentially. In World of Warcraft though, I did I sold glyphs on the auction house and
Made a
Wrath
crap
of the
ton.
Lich, Wrath of the Lich King, and I still have like 180,000 gold
I was about to
after, and
say
never
even with
touching the auction house ever again, besides to buy stuff and
I
buying
love the
everything to
auction
my
house.
heart's content. And yeah,
even with their economy being as good as it is, it's still I have most of my friends, including myself, are pretty much gold capped at this point. So it's like
yeah,
you still eventually, if you play enough, you're not going to have an issue or a problem with it.
yeah.
And I think, if you play enough, like in any game, yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, you are going to have too much gold no matter what you do, unless they find something that scales. But um, for the average to slightly higher than average, I would say that it would be. I feel like finding a balance is possible. Maybe not for like the super, like the super user or the super player, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Let's continue on.
Who we got next? Um, Galatlas, I think is how you say it. Galatlas.
Galatlas. That's how I would say it. So it's probably
Galatlas.
wrong.
Galatlas. We'll say it. He just said, bring back Realm of Trials, and I don't know if maybe he means. So he's saying the better you get, better rewards the further you get with the Realm of Trials.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if he means like paying to
I
get into the Realm of
I
Trials.
guess is that's what it must be as far as
That's
the
what I
gold
was
thing is that you have to
assuming.
pay to enter the Realm of Trials.
Yeah. I foresee a lot of crap talk if they bring back Realm of Trials.
Yeah, but I mean that would be an interesting type of gameplay because then you'd have the horde mode, and it's no longer something that you have to do
Yep.
every
Right.
single
If it was
time.
separate,
Yeah, it's
if it
just
was separate,
separate.
it'd be cool.
Yeah, it's something that you could have its own like little leaderboard. I pay 500 million gold. I get to go into the realm of trials, and see how far I can get. And it's like a little mini rift. It'd almost be like a mini, greater rift because I don't get any like rewards from it until the end. So I have to.
Because you'll get chests at the end.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it has to be through, and instead of being like the 15 minutes to try and clear this highest absolute level that I could, it's go until you die. They could make it, they could make it interesting where, like, say you go until you're dead and you're not allowed to res. So if you're in a party and somebody dies, you can't res them, and it's kind of like a last man standing thing. Though that would make a very easy way of getting rewards with no risk for a hardcore character.
Yeah.
Right.
So it probably would have to be, you actually have to at some point stop or run out of time.
Yeah, because something like that could separate hardcore and softcore quite significantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea, though. I when I first started, I was like, but then now that we're talking about it, I'm like, okay, I could.
I like the idea of other game types coming back, and I like Realm of Trials again, like you said, 9-ball only really sucks because it was mandatory and just ate up time that you wanted to be doing something else. But if it was a separate competitive game mode, that'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, just another thing that you can do, because that was one of the ones that they wanted to. The Realm of Trials, what became the Realm of Trials was originally you were supposed to come across like Nephilim rifts out in the open world that you would come across, and it would be like the Realm of Trials where you had like these different things. Like it ended up becoming the cursed shrines. And the cursed chests, but it would be like a shrine. It would open up a portal. You'd go inside. You kind of had like this, So think of like where you have to kill like the 5 waves of mobs, but in a separate little world, or you had to go through and like kill all these enemies, in this mini rift, in X amount of time. Is what conceptually, we never got to play that, but conceptually that's what it was on paper, at BlizzCon when they announced Reapers of Soul, and we eventually, they refined it down to cursed chests, cursed shrines, and Nephilim Rifts became its own type of gameplay, later.
Yeah.
We've got another one here from Maiden, if you want to take that one, Nerdwards.
Yeah, looks like man, this is a really really interesting concept. But they're saying basically you pay 100 million gold to enter a 4-player PvP, and it's 100 million gold a minute. It looks like, and they have PvP goblins that will drop. They have drops and they'll have a chance. Wait, you have a choice to kill goblins or players. And if you get killed, you don't get to keep the items. Or another PvP area, and it has a big chest. You only have 5 minutes to kill players and get the chest items. If you die, you don't get them. Which these are PvP ideas. Which
He's trying to get PvP in here.
Yeah, it sounds great theoretically, but just PvP in Diablo, I just don't see it being a thing.
That reminds me. That actually reminds me of the free-for-alls in the arenas in World of Warcraft. You had the Gurubachi arena where, every couple hours it would go, would go and have the chest spawn. You had to go and try and get the arena trinket, and you're just like fighting and killing everybody, people on your own faction and everything. That was always fun. And that one kind of like you have people go through, buy into it. It's 100 million for a ticket. You go in and let me kill everybody and try and get that shot.
Oh, I just had an idea, and it would be dirty. No, it'd be exploitive.
It'd be dirty.
Never mind. Yeah, well, I was gonna say like it's kind of a cool idea if you did it like Diablo 1 style, to where if you died, all of your gear fell on the ground. Oh. So you could pay like a billion gold to enter a PvP match, and you lost if you died. You had the chance to lose your gear because people pick it up, but then you could just cheese it by doing that to trade with people, and it would just create all kinds of other issues. But but man, I really loved the Diablo 1 mechanic. It was fun.
Yeah, it's more like racing with pink slips. A little Fast and Furious style, right?
Yep, there you go, man.
That would be interesting. Yeah. All right. Well, so this, I think we have one more. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So this one comes from Cruckle, which he actually emailed us last show, and he was actually the one that that uh, he had the podcast that was also community driven, and so he was.
But he didn't tell us what the name of the show
He
was.
didn't tell us what the name of the show was, and so he emailed back and said that his show is called Salt and Light Gaming. So we encourage you guys to go check out them if you're interested in just, just talking about. I think they talk about a bunch of different stuff, so it sounds pretty cool. And yeah, and he chimed in on the Gold Zinc question and said he would like to see stash space. So that's,
I mean, yeah.
Tick for that one. But he said best solution he figures to let us buy temporary buffs. And he said maybe give Kadala the option to purchase items with gold, or bribe Kadala with gold to increase your legendary drop rate. But he thinks that most likely the gold sync will somehow be that will go along with the cube somehow. And so the only issues I see with those is like, how do you separate that from feeling like you have to do those things? Like upping your drop rate chance could be difficult, where like if you don't have that buff on, you're not maximizing your time. So we talked a bunch about buffs last episode, so I don't think we need to get too far into.
I do actually aesthetically, like, not the actual gameplay mechanic doesn't sound good, but the aesthetically, like bribing Kadala for a chance at better items, I like the kind of like concept of that. I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Especially with Geed the way he was in Diablo 2 and the way Kadala's kind of that sarcastic undertone too.
I think he was talking about items, or are you saying like if you buy the like Geed where you buy the items outright from them?
No, I mean like by like you pay
drop rate
$1 billion
chance?
gold. You pay $1 billion gold for a better chance from Kadala to get legendaries. Like you bribe her to give you better items or a chance for better items. I like that idea.
While you're playing, or just in that moment?
Just in that moment. Like if I play,
yeah, because I would agree with that. I would be okay with that
for a guaranteed legendary of whatever one I click, the first one I click. But we don't know what legendary it'll be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's still. I mean, it's an interesting gold sync, but it's more like the aesthetic, like the idea lore-wise of bribing Kadala to give me badass items. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Black Market style. Fouch just straight up wants to fight Kadala.
He's got some aggression to.
He does.
To get over
raise your
there.
hand. Frustrated with Kadala.
And there's also something going on in chat about hiring a certain follower. No, not gonna happen. No. Yeah, but
I think that's gonna be the gold sync.
Yeah.
Conversation to.
There were some very interesting ideas.
I
don't really see a lot of them. Whereas just paying X gold for X item or something along the lines, I don't really seeing that being kind of the direction that they go.
Yeah.
For whatever gold sync it is that they are planning on, because they're gonna have something more creative. Something along probably like the map system or something else. Who knows?
Yeah.
They know. They know. They're not sharing it with us. Maybe soon-ish.
Come on, Wyatt.
We got another 2 months left in this season. We should in another month or so, or actually it could even be in a couple weeks that we see a PTR dropping. Because I don't think they can't hold the cards for 2.4 until BlizzCon, because we'd be expecting 2.4 around BlizzCon. So we're gonna need to know it beforehand, because otherwise, season 4 would be going until January. So that's definitely not going to happen. But who knows? We'll see.
Unless they just do 2.4 without, or unless they do new season 5 without 2.4.
You shut your dirty mouth.
I'm hoping it doesn't happen.
Don't give them ideas. God. Well, give them ideas, just not that one. Okay?
I'm sorry. I regret it. I regret my actions.
As you should. And you should regret all the lore stuff too. Just saying. Anyway.
No. I will not.
So, should we get into emails?
Yeah. We kind of already have,
Like
but
we already have been, but now
yeah.
like the different
So
emails.
like last week was kind of a community led, and this week kind of is too.
Yes.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's fun getting lots of emails. So I'll take the first one.
Go
I
for
feel
it.
like I've been talking about emails a lot lately, but I'll take this one. So this one comes from Chainin. I think I said your name correctly. He says, found the podcast a while ago and has been listening ever since. So thank you very much. And he said that he started a hardcore character for the first time because he was listening to us and wanted to find out what the hardcore scene is all about. So keep it up, man. Hardcore is fun. And if you have any questions about things, yeah. Oh, he actually did have a question in here. He said, just wondering if it's best to switch between difficulties depending on my gear, or can I just leave it on hard and level all the way to 70? Um, and so it's
It is.
this. He sent this 2 weeks ago, so hopefully he's at 70. But
Uh-huh.
what do you think, Neville?
Always adjust the difficulty based on what your feeling is. I would not go
Yeah.
above hard while you're leveling, but if you need to, there is no shame in taking it to normal.
Yep.
Mhm.
Bingo.
Yep.
Always do what feels comfortable, especially in hardcore.
Yep. There is a old Ferengi saying that your pride in an empty sack is worth the sack.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yep.
Yeah, so do whatever you can do efficiently, and don't go any higher to where it's taking you more. Really, like you should be one-shotting most things, maybe two-shotting, but like I would even one. You got to be running through that pretty easily, because that's where you're going to be the most efficient with your experience gains for sure. So good luck with that. He said that he's finding people, he's struggling to find people to play with. It sounds like he's from Australia. So, g'day, mate. So yeah, no, he was wondering if there's an Australian community for hardcore. I don't know the answer to that, but if anyone's
I'm
out
sure there
there,
is. There's gotta
yeah,
be.
yeah, I would think so. Look up on the communities. Just do like whatever you're in. Just look in the communities and click on find, and just search like hardcore or something like that, and um, you will find communities that have like-minded thoughts as you do, and so just be careful on not joining a toxic community, because those aren't fun, and that will ruin your experience really quickly. And there are non-toxic communities out there, so yeah. So just because you're right, playing with people is highly encouraged, because you will hit 70 much faster.
Gear faster.
Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah, there's a lot of tools out there, such as using if you can find a clan or even just the community section. There's one of those ones where it's like, what is it? Rift It Forward. Even though that's not a thing anymore, the community is still huge and active and really about helping each other out. That would be one of those ones. If you can find one of the old, I don't want to say like one of the old Rift It Forward hardcore communities, because they're still there. They're still active. They're still I think they are still the most active communities that are out there. They're definitely worth looking into.
Yep. For sure. And he did include his BattleNet his battle tag chain. If anyone's playing Australian servers, Chainin, CHAININ, number sign hashtag 1551. So
moving on from there, we've got Sergeant Psycho going through and emailing us yet again. This one is actually a bit of a, not so much about the game, but just some good real life news. That it seems that he does have a date for Boots Up, and coming as he puts it, coming back to Westmarch from the Desolate Sands. He doesn't want to share what that date might be just yet, but he'll email us closer as he gets in there. But he is definitely looking forward to hopping back on this side. And finishing with his deployment. So
Yeah.
good on you. We can't wait to hear more and welcoming
man.
you back, having you in team speak and what have you. Looking forward to chatting it up.
Yep. For those of you who don't listen to every episode or whatever, Psycho's been sending us periodic just updates on his deployment. So it's awesome to see that he's coming home, and be safe, man. Get home safe.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Excited for you to come home for sure. So, yep.
It's really cool to see soldiers, especially overseas like that, able to get into a game and find a community and stuff. I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
really cool.
Yep.
We still got your spot open for you, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Still sitting there.
You were here.
Yep. I think you actually are like not is I think he's not the longest offline person in the clan.
That's true. Because we do 2 weeks, but then like there's if you shoot us an email or or if you run the admin site at BlizzPro, we don't kick you out.
If you are the co-creator of BlizzPro,
so I think he's good.
We're not kicking you, so JR, you're fine.
Yeah.
You want to take this next one, Rupert?
Yeah, it looks like the next email we have here says, hello, gents. I'm the leader of a European clan called Tengu. At the end of each season, we have a small conversation going on about the best build of this past season. This is for a few purposes. One of them is to give other players an idea for next season, what they supposed to catch up if they didn't manage to test out past season yet. Other than that is to see the most fun and most powerful builds. See if we played just for us to get higher on the leaderboards, or if we had a lot of fun with it. Chicken builds compared to zombie builds on witch doctors, etc. My idea is to make it like some small, thing without even rewarding anybody, just for us to see how many people favor some of the most excellent builds of the past season. They'd like to hear what we think about it. Regards from the UK, Peter from the Tengu clan. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I actually like that idea a lot, and it's something that we've discussed, in the past, like doing something like a best of or like best players, just a way of keeping the community together. It's something that everyone can
engaged,
come in,
right?
Yeah, engaged and have a conversation about. Right now, I mean, we're pretty active. We've got the show. People send us in emails. We've got raid call. Now we have TeamSpeak to go through and talk. But I guess this would be something more if we get a forum or something along those lines set up for everyone to come in and talk to and communicate with. And that would be something that we'd obviously open up larger to the community at whole as opposed to just the clan. That's something that we can discuss. I really do like that, just how it kind of has that close-knit feeling for the community itself.
Yeah, even not even necessarily this particular idea, but just the fact that their clan is going back and saying, okay, like how can we bring in people to be closer together? How can we help them improve for the next time they're playing? Just all that stuff is awesome. So, well done, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that. Tengu Clan, Tengu. So if you guys are on the European servers, take a look at them. I have no idea if they're recruiting or not, but
just gonna throw it out there that what is it? The Crow-headed Tengu, one of the most overpowered player races that you could have played in Oriental Adventures and 3.5 D&D. Just
there you go.
For at least low ELs. That is.
Fun fact.
Fun fact, yeah. Never, ever discount the power of disguise and minor image at will. Nope, never do it. I know you have me down for Syncope's email, but I will touch on that one during the items of the week.
Okay.
All right, so you want to move on to Blue-Right?
Move on to Blue-Right. Let me pull it up here really fast. So Blue-Right, he is actually a recent joiner of the clan. So he's been with us for a few weeks now, and he just kind of wrote in to give us an update on how his hardcore seasonal experience is going, because he's actually playing from Europe, and so he just said whatever, like, I love talking with this community. And so he's just like, I'm just going to try it out. So he's having a lot of fun, and he was able to play with people for the first time ever. Um, and so actually, since he's written in this email, he and I have played together a little bit a few days. I believe it was this weekend, actually. So we did a bunch of bounties this weekend. I think Saturday morning, while we had the buff going. Um, and then he actually joined in TeamSpeak as well. So got to talk to him a little bit as well. So yeah, welcome aboard, and thanks for writing in.
Yeah, glad to have you. Glad to have you in here, especially because he's been a longtime fan of the show.
Yeah, I recognized his name pretty early on when I joined up.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
All right, guys. Looks like we got another email here from Mr. Jeff. It says, "Sup, fellas. I'm a longtime listener to the podcast and love the show. I want to contribute to the feedback section regarding season 2.3. At the end of the day, this is a great game, and the joy of playing Diablo 3 has never been more evident than in patch 2.3. I made a monk, and I love the playstyle of the U6 set. However, what I most looked forward to was the Angry Chicken with Doctor, or Witch Doctor. That seemed like the most fun. With Doctor. Angry Chicken with Doctor.
yeah,
/ W.
Yep.
After gearing up an Angry Chicken farming build, I went into public rifts this past weekend to do bounties for the double crafting mats. At one point, I stared in disbelief as my Angry Chicken, sporting Boon of the Hoarder and Wreath of Lightning, stomped past a whirlwind barb on the way to the next bounty goal. I couldn't stop laughing. A witch doctor as a chicken running past a whirlwind barb. Too funny. Love this season, Jeff.
Yep.
Which that is pretty awesome, actually. Vindication, man. Vindication for the man keeping you down. The man in this season being Barbs and monks.
Well, and just imagine
has returned.
That's one of those scenes that I'd like to picture. Like in the game itself, you're in the world, you're going through a barbarian that's going and hacking and slashing and rending things that are just covered in the the blood, ichor, and gore of countless demons, and then all of a sudden a chicken goes rocketing past you, shooting bolts of lightning out of it, and just electrifying and killing and exploding on everything. And it's just like
pretty amazing.
Yeah, that would make you stop and think. Yeah, that would make you stop and think.
I love these kind of builds that are popping up.
Going back to the beginning of the episode, I challenge the next writer for the Diablo series novel to somehow include Angry Chicken into the novel. Just
do it.
Throwing it out there.
That would be a feat.
Yep, just throwing it out there.
Can you do it?
Can you do it?
Oh, anyway, it can be done.
Yep. Continuing on, our last one is from Longshot, who, of course, as always, is here in chat with us.
Troll.
Kind of chaining a whole bunch of questions in here. So we'll try and get through them because we're kind of running a little short on time. So we'll get through these as much as we can. First one is actually kind of like more of a meta question, like real world question than Diablo question. If there's been any serious research as far as the Diablo 3 streamers or players, and do you hold down a mouse button or do you just click like there's no tomorrow?
This is an interesting question. I've never really asked people this.
Yeah, I believe from a medical standpoint that holding it down causes more long-term damage than repetitive motion.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say I didn't. We got this email in today, and I remember coming across this when Diablo 3 first launched, and I want to say that I'm remembering this correctly. But holding down the mouse as opposed to constantly clicking causes more strain on the muscles. I don't remember if it was long-term damage or something along those lines. But it's just throwing it out there. I need to go through and research that one. I think it comes down to whatever build it is that you're playing. Some of them are better off just holding down the mouse button. So Natalia's, for example, is better to hold down your strafe, and then when you use the other skills, it will just automatically interrupt it for you. So other ones, you can't really do that quite as much. So
it all depends on the skills and your attack speed and what you're fighting, and there's a lot of different situations, and also preference. Because sometimes it just feels like you're kicking more ass when you're clicking rapidly, you know? So it's
Yep.
whatever feels best, honestly. But you can also test this. Just take a character, go into the world and hold shift and click rapidly. And then also hold shift and right click and see which one's giving you more attacks per second. I know with wizards specifically, sometimes it's more beneficial to spam it and do physical attacks, and sometimes it's not. It just depends.
Yeah.
For
Second
the Hoda
question.
build, I get so tired of clicking. Just throwing that out there.
Just letting it be known. Our second question, Gloves of Worship, Shrine for a whole 10 minutes. No, does not affect Conduit.
Wish it did.
Yeah. It's not really any way that you're going to be able to boost your Gritter of Clears. You'll be much better off using something else.
Would be so OP.
Yep, Gloves of Worship, though, can be a very viable choice for bounty farming, since you're more likely to actually come across all of the shrines within those 10-minute periods. But yeah, definitely it's a valid one for that one. Do you guys have pull in order to get D3 to improve the bounties? I wish.
Yes.
I wish. When you have to kill 50 or 150, why not for yellow or elites? They count as more than one to help speed up bounties. Just get Wyatt on that. Will do. Roger.
We're already moving through bounties pretty quick.
Yep. Broken Promise. Does this ring work on the Templar? After the 5 consecutive non-critical hits, will it increase his critical strike chance by 100% for 3 seconds? I want to say that it would.
On the Templar.
Why would you?
Yeah,
because it would only affect the Templar.
damage is negligible.
Yeah. And also, he's just wanting to go through and say that he has a cube addiction right now. Right now I am addicted to the cube. No longer square like the Valley Girls used to say in the 80s. But he was a bit confused and lost one step. The cube, 2 things, and it's not in the sheet. Then you realize that you got to click on the item in the slot and then such. So he's going through cubing things, but then not actually going and finding, why I just cubed an item? Why is it on the list? Oh, there's buttons there that I can go and look around. Okay, there you go. You're on the right track now. Yeah. And I think when the bonus bounties, he did some 22 runs of bounties for this weekend. So it's a pretty good run there.
Nice.
Yeah. And then he also enjoys the 4.5 hour long lore show 2 weeks
ago.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yep.
Lore is growing on everyone.
It is.
I wish we had time tonight for a lore corner, but maybe next episode.
Maybe next episode indeed. But would you guys want to show off some items of the week?
Let's do it.
All right. We can go through and do this. As soon as I bring up the overlay here. There we go. I got this. I swear I got it.
And you just made that so awkward.
I know. I couldn't find the button. Is that appropriate? That's what she said joke? I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
PG.
PG-13. We can say the F word once. We do that? Are we allowed to?
Yeah, sure. No,
Shit.
wait. No, wait. What? No.
Anyways.
No cursing, guys.
What are we doing right now? I don't even know. So our first item here is sent in by Shrew. It is an ancient Suwong Diviner. And this one comes up with 4,268 DPS. Is re-rolled for 10% damage. Has Leet Intelligence, so 1,337 for those not in the know. 1,242 Vitality, increases Acid Cloud damage by 97%, almost a perfect roll there. 1.8% chance to chill enemies on hit, and the Acid Cloud gains the effect of the Lob Blob Bomb rune. And of course, Ronald McDonald's for a socket.
Ronald McDonald.
Mm-hmm.
That was beautiful.
Next item sent in here from Fate. This is an Ancient Fist of Az-Tarask. This one is 3,055 DPS. 9% damage, 1,000 dexterity, which I believe that's a perfect roll for a one-handed weapon.
Is it with Ancient?
With Ancient, was it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
And has re-rolled for reduces cooldown of all skills by 10%. Secondary bonuses of 15 max spirit, and exploding palms on death explosion damage is increased by the perfect 100%.
That is beautiful.
Beautiful, beautiful.
It is pretty.
That's going to make a lot of monks jealous.
Next item in here is from Mandingo. This one has me just a wee bit jealous. Ancient Johanna's argument with 2,900 DPS even, not even a point after that, is 2900.0. This one has 8% damage, 926 strength, 1,660 life per wrath spent. Secondary bonuses of 10 maximum wrath, increases attack speed of Blessed Hammers by 100%, and a Ronald McDonald for a socket. That is just a beautiful, beautiful roll there.
We have people saying in chat that they're quitting the game because of these items, by the way.
Ah, good.
So.
Good. If you can't take it,
good leave.
I've been saying that for over a year now since we started doing this segment.
Yeah. There's some good items this time around.
Everyone would go and send in pictures of these beautiful Tasker and Theos.
Tasker and Theo.
Sat there with friggin'
Ancient Crashing Rains.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. I can scroll in for this one a little bit. There we make it a little bit bigger. This one is a freeze of deflection. I do want to say one thing for those people that did send in multiple items. Due to time constraints, I'm only showing one item at a time. Very sorry about that, but time constraints and whatnot.
Yep.
This one is freeze of deflection. I think this is the first time we've ever seen it on the show, but this one just rolled like so beautiful. I know it's not ancient or anything like that, but it rolled perfect 750 strength, perfect 750 vitality, perfect 15% life, perfect reduces cooldown of all skills by 8%, 157 poison resist and blocking and attacks, and it finally goes through and drops the ball. It only freezes them for 1.3 seconds out of a maximum of 1.5.
3 points away from the poison res. Fail. Sharded, done.
I guess also technically it only rolled with a 16% block chance, and it could go up to 20. But that is just a wonderful set of luck right there.
He doesn't have anything re-rolled either, which is
nothing re-rolled on it. That might be nice of like turning like the vitality or life into like crit for your Templar or something along those lines.
That item rolled so well, and it rolled a freeze of deflection. Like, why couldn't that have been like a furnace RNG? You know what I mean? Like, God, man.
But still, that's save your RNG for those things.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of furnace RNG, we have an item in here from Mickey. Ancient Furnace coming in at 4,237 DPS is re-rolled for 10% bonus damage, 1,350 strength, 1,297 vitality, level requirement reduced by 30, and increases the damage against elites by 46%, and a Ronald McDonald's for a socket.
Nice.
Very nice. Should totally waste a level 25 Gem of Ease just to make the level requirement 1. So that way you can equip it on your negative 29 level character, the character that had not yet been born.
The fetus.
Yes.
Which you do fight babies in Act 6, remember?
Yeah, I am just picturing a baby running around with a furnace, killing things, only to be passed by an electric chicken.
Happened in the lore.
Yep. This one we have a ancient Hellfire amulet sent in by Steven. This one not Leviathan, another Steven. This one is 943 intelligence. Critical hit damage rerolled for 90%. We want to see it when you hit 100. Yep. Critical hit chance increased by 999. Secondary effects are 78% extra gold from monsters, and you gain the Audacity passive.
That's a good amulet.
It's really, really good. I wish our passes were better. It'd be better then. But it's if you want a Hellfire Amulet and you're on a wizard, that's about the only usable one you'll find.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
Next, a Mars Kaleidoscope sent in by David. This one rolled 727 strength, increased critical hit damage by 100%, increased critical hit chance by 9%. Health Globe and Potions grant 29,000 life, extra life, and it prevents all poison damage and instead heals you for 10% of the amount received. And it rolled with a socket. This has not been touched, not been re-rolled. This would be beautiful item. You could re-roll the secondary into, ranged or melee damage reduction, or you could take the strength into elemental damage, depending on your class.
I would murder children for that. I would literally murder a child for that.
The ones in Act 5.
Yep, there's babies. There's babies.
Babies. We're going to kill the babies.
Did anybody play Dante's Inferno?
Yeah, a little bit.
Like when you're in the first level of hell and you're fighting Cleopatra, and she births the undead demon babies out of her nipples.
Super badass. That game was so ridiculous.
Yeah, random thought. Just throwing it out there for you all.
That got real weird.
Yeah, ever so slightly. Anyways, moving on. A perfect crashing rain sent in by Jason. None of the stats matter on this thing. Besides the fact that it rolled Rain of Vengeance also summons a crashing beast that deals 4,000% weapon damage.
Well done, sir.
I guess for completion, it does also have 485 dexterity, 445 vitality, 14% bonus life, and regenerates 4,686 life per second, and 33% extra gold for monsters. But who cares?
Nobody.
It rolled perfect.
Yep.
And that is what matters, boys and girls.
We're still waiting on that perfect corrupted Ashbringer, aren't we?
Yeah, we had a 5,999. That's our top one at the moment. And speaking of corrupted Ashbringers,
see,
we've got
on purpose.
You didn't know what order I had these in.
I have no idea what's coming up.
He actually doesn't know what order I have these in, so that's completely random. Yeah, this one is an ancient corrupted Ashbringer sent in by Woodbite with 3,873 DPS. It's not been touched yet, but it did come with 1,388 intelligence, 1,278 vitality, a chance to 23% chance to trigger area damage, 14% extra damage to undead, 16,000 life after each kill, and the corrupted Ashbringer proc of after the 5 skeleton summon, it will deal bonus 5,428% weapon damage as holy.
It's a beast.
Love me some ancient corrupted Ashbringer.
Next we have another ancient Hellfire Amulet. This one's sent in by Kurt. 950 intelligence, 999 vitality, 999. Critical hit chance increased by 9%. Lots of nines. I like this amulet. 1,777. 177. Damn, that's a lot of poison or physical resist. 177 physical resistance, and also grants the Jungle Fortitude passive. So very, very nice survivability amulet right there. Physical resist, Jungle Fortitude, and almost 1,000 vitality.
Yep.
It's pretty nice.
It's nice.
Another close but not quite contender in our saga of corrupted Ashbringers. This one's sent in by Burps with 3,926 DPS. Came with 1,453 strength, 1,423 vitality, 10% bonus damage to undead, 17,000 life after each kill, and this one's bonus damage is 5,997. Not quite. Almost. Yep. And also came naturally with a socket.
3% away. I would flip my keyboard. Just my keyboard, not my whole desk.
Just.
And then I pick it up afterwards.
Yep, exactly.
Make sure it's okay.
And then slap myself on the wrist.
Don't do that.
Don't you?
Bad, Nathan. Why would you do that?
Our next item sent in here by Jonathan is a set of Jerem's bracers. So these are some of the new Witch Doctor bracers introduced this patch. It's been re-rolled to increase fire skills by 18% damage, 650 intelligence, 129 resistance to all elements, increases critical hit chance by 5.5%, golden health pickup range by 2 yards, and also Wall of Death deals 99% increased damage and can be cast up to 3 times within the 2-second window.
Those are some good rolls.
Yeah, very good rolls.
Good rolls.
We've got a Hellfire Amulet sent in by Chaos & Co. 744 strength. Critical hit damage increased by 100%. Reroll to have critical hit chance increased by 10%. 142 fire resistance. You gain the Relentless passive, and also showing off his beautiful level 58 Bane of the Trapped.
Man, I'm so jealous of good, well-rolled Hellfire amulets.
Yep.
So good looking.
We have an item from Syncope here, which went through and sent in this beautiful little ancient furnace. This one went and rolled with 4,429 DPS, 9% bonus damage, 1,297 strength, increases attack speed by 5%, and the secondary bonus of 234 experience and 49% bonus damage versus elites.
That's a good looking furnace.
That's a
ridiculous.
very good looking.
It's not even been re-rolled yet. He can roll that attack speed to anything. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, though it's the question that he had is that he wanted to know, is it worth using the furnace over Johanna's argument, and would it be better to reroll the attack speed into cooldown reduction? And unfortunately, the most effective way of playing the Seeker of Light build is with Johanna's argument. So you would cube the furnace, use Johanna's.
Yeah.
Don't cube that, please. Don't.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah,
like, you guys,
yeah.
that's the only one you have. Do you guys cube it?
Yeah.
Nope.
Otherwise, I might actually keep the attack speed on it instead of the cooldown reduction, because you can't. The best way of keeping your Akarat's uptime is with the Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac and just being able to spam an ever-loving crap ton of hammers. So you just need to spam them as quickly as you possibly can. It also helps with stutter stepping and movement when using the hexing pants. So I don't know. It's one of those ones, I guess, if you don't really want to do stutter stepping, then maybe turning it into cooldown reduction to get the better uptime on Akarat's champion. Otherwise, I would actually keep the attack speed on it.
Leviathan says, "Do not keep that furnace."
Like I feel like a child dies somewhere in the universe if you do.
Because
so
we're
nice.
just killing babies anyway.
Yeah,
so.
which is one of those ones. My only found furnace that I found so far, I have not yet cubed.
Yeah, I haven't found one yet this season. I'm hunting one real bad though.
Yeah.
I cubed one because someone gave it to me.
Shut up.
I want someone to find one and give it to me.
And they gave me my Ramalandis.
Oh, that's
So
a nice
sad.
trade. And they said trading is dead.
I know, right?
Yeah, this one is sent in by Jeff. The same Jeff that we had an email from earlier. This is another Ancient Fist of Az-Tarask with 3,067 DPS. It is rerolled for 10% damage, 845 dexterity, 475 life per spirit spent. Monster kills grant 246 experience, and exploding palm damage increased by 97%. And also came... that one, I guess, came with a socket. Or no, yeah, no, that one came with a socket, didn't it? Or no, it was Ronald McDonald for a socket. I'm forgetting how to play this game.
Who knows? It's hard to tell.
Yep, no, that one was Ronald McDonald's. Sorry. Confused there. He also had a question. He's asking, should he keep the 10% base damage, or would that be better off being re-rolled into cooldown reduction? And I unfortunately do not play enough monk to effectively answer that question.
Nor
Me
do
neither.
Yeah.
Yay.
We have
We're so
zero monk
helpful.
experts here. Should have asked that last week with Lala on.
So,
Yeah.
well, I'm just going to say yes. Yes.
Yes.
That's the answer.
The answer is true.
Yes. Some people in chat are going through and chiming in that cooldown reduction is going to be better off for you.
See, that's the good thing about a community.
Yep.
CDR.
We have people that will.
Oh, Lala said CDR as well. So
there you go.
Lala is boss.
Yep. And next we have a ancient dagger of darts. This one is making me jelly. 3,351 DPS is re-rolled for 10% damage, 856 intelligence, increases attack speed by 7%, 150 maximum mana, and your dagger of darts from your fetishes now pierce with Ronald McDonald's for a socket. Yeah, it really doesn't get much better than that.
That's pretty.
That is about as good as you can get. That thing is sexy. Attack speed, 10% damage. It's just
attack speed works for that build too, right?
It does.
Attack speed goes to your pets. Yeah.
The attack speed goes to the pets, since you're using using dagger of darts, which has really long animation, so attack speed goes a very long way to increasing your amount of damage.
That build just sounds really cool.
It is just something that I want to play around with myself. And then our final item of the week. Oh, no. Where did it go? It's not coming up.
Make it work, because it's, in my opinion, the best one of the...
Yep, hold on 1 second. I'm going to switch overlays real quick.
Oh, so awkward.
I know. For whatever reason, it is not doing it. So we will click back, and there we go. We're there. Magic. Whoosh. Paid no attention to the man behind the curtain. Our final item is sent in by Replay. A Hellfire Amulet increases physical skills damage by 20%, increases critical hit damage by 100%, reroll to increase critical hit chance by 10%, monster kills grant 149 experience, you gain the Nerves of Steel passive, and of course, a socket.
That makes me want to throw up.
Dirty. Oh man, it's so beautiful.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I'm assuming Nerves of Steel is good for bar builds, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really should play a different class every now and then.
Try barb.
Yep.
No.
I always go back and try something new, and then they go through and say, "Oh yeah, we're doing something to the Demon Hunters this next patch," and it's just
Have to try it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I pretty much never do the new thing. I should.
Yeah. For me, I guess it's one of those ones. It's not so much a new thing, because Demon Hunter is my thing, so it's not really new. It's just it's I did the Demon Hunter, and then let me try something else that's different, and then I go back to the Demon Hunter, and then I try something else that's different, and I go back to the Demon Hunter. This time I tried something. I tried the new hotness, and it was. I tried the new hotness, and it was not hot at all.
Tried it.
Lukewarm. So, and with that, I believe this will bring our episode to a close.
Good night.
Is there any closing thoughts before I get into the intro? Outro to the outro. We are now. This is now the intro to the outro. It's the beginning of the end.
Beginning of the end.
Yep.
Sounded ominous.
Yep. Nothing.
No, I think that this season's been a lot of fun. It seems like the energy and enthusiasm is still pretty high within the community, at least for the most part. Glad they fixed the Hellfire Amulet stuff. Hoping to see other things addressed soon. And
Potting?
Yeah, just
there is.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but no, it's been a fun season so far. I would like to see the disparity between classes get addressed, but I'm sure it will. I'm sure first iteration PDR we're gonna see some stuff on that too. But yeah, no, Still playing, still having fun, still rocking Wizard. Go team.
Did you just punch the air?
That's what I
Yeah,
do.
you did.
Yeah.
Punch the air.
Yeah.
Love it. Oh man.
Well, how about you, LT?
Yeah.
I got nothing. I think it was a good episode. Good
Every
discussions.
episode's a good episode.
It is. It's true. But I think we kicked her in the butt.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for joining us again. And of course, if for those listening on iTunes and Stitcher, our episode is live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. I know what I'm doing, I swear. You can find us at twitch.tv/BlizzPro. And while you're here, go ahead, hit the follow button and see some of the other shows that we have to offer. Sunday nights, you can go through, hang out, talk Hearthstone with the Well Met podcast. With JR, the co-founder of BlizzPro. Monday nights, you have Twizcast is back, kind of that they cover every single game that Blizzard does. Overwatch, Diablo, StarCraft. It's got something for everybody in a wide cast of characters. Archon is actually back on that show, so it's something that if you miss Archon, you can see what he's up to on the moon training penguins over there Monday nights.
It's like Pokemon.
Yeah. Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, you can catch the Heroes Power Hour, which I'm on occasionally, where we talk Heroes of the Storm and play a couple matches. We also, for the Patreon afterwards, we play with our patrons. So it's definitely something that we really enjoy. Come hang out, chat with us. Because I really enjoy Heroes of the Storm. I try to play as many Diablo heroes as I possibly can, so that way I keep it together.
Gotta keep your stream paid up.
Of course.
Keep the sanctuary.
Yeah, and of course, there's other places that you can go through and find us. You can follow us on Twitter at the WM Workshop. You can also follow us individually. I'm at 9ballgamer. You can follow Lieutenant Lunatic at LT Lunatic22. And you can also follow Nerdwords here at N3RDWARDS. I have to spell it out because there's a number in there.
There's a number.
Nerdwords with a 3.
Nerdwords with a 3.
Because I'm so lead.
He is so lead. You can,
oh my gosh.
You can also find out about the many topics that we talk about on the show at diablo.blizzpro.com. And you can even find us in-game. We are the BlizzPro clan. We're kind of full up and we got a wait list, but if you send us in an email, we definitely will pump you a little bit ahead in order for going through and getting in. Because we just like to know who you are. If we know who you are as opposed to just a random person asking for an invite, it makes it easier on us to tell who it is that we're letting in. Softcore, hardcore, casual or not. The only restriction that we have is that if you're AFK for 2 weeks, we kick you unless you let us know ahead of time.
And we are starting to like the wait list is starting to clear up a little bit. So if you guys didn't get in when the season kicked off, shoot us a note again or shoot us a note and we'll try to get you guys in there.
And then if you don't want to leave your current clan, we also have the Westmarch Workshop community, so that way you can still chat with us and be in the clan with the rest of your friends. Our raid call server is effectively gone because as of tomorrow, it's shutting down in the US. But we do have a TeamSpeak server. It is blizzpro.typefrag.com at port 6250 with no password. So just go, come, join in, hang out, and chat.
Yeah, there's been a decent crowd in there so far. So it's already starting to kick off pretty good. I'm excited.
And with that is that. That is the end of the episode. Any last parting thoughts? Nothing? Anyone? No one?
Thanks Nerdwords for joining us.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir. I always have fun with you guys. Y'all just so pretty. Y'all pretty. I love talking Diablo with y'all.
I'm blushing through my beard.